6-8 overall versus Texas Southern, but they swept the TSU Tigers this year. So hard to beat a good team 3 times.
Jackson, the co-coach of the year in the SWAC. And as you said, back on January 4th, there was a Grambling State 85-72 win. Then on February 11th, they won 65-46 at home. So what happens here today? This is for the title and a trip to the NCAA tournament. P.J. Henry, who you brought up to begin, misses the jumper. And here's Grambling State.
But you like that look. They tried to go back door. Grambling State did a great job covering it up, not giving P.J. Henry the easy layup to start the game.
Cameron Christian knocked out of his hands, and he tucks it last, goes back over to Texas Southern.
And a great job by David Barnes defending the SWAC Player of the Year.
Starting 5 for Texas Southern. Who else besides Henry we looking at here today for this group?
Well, when you think Texas Southern, you got to look at a guy like John Walker III, who was the SWAC Impact Player of the Week last week with the basketball right now. He's a guy that can make plays with the basketball in his hand, also scoring. You see the nice assist right off the bat.
And putting it in was Jordan Carl Nicholas, the graduate student out of Houston, Texas. 2-0 Texas Southern. 1 minute gone by here in the championship game of the SWAC. Backdoor cut, a block inside. Good job there by John Walker III, who got that one for the Tigers.
But you can see Walker's one of those guys who impacts the game, not as necessarily even with his scoring, with everything that he does, blocking shots, and of course making plays for his teammates as well.
And the dish inside, and the bucket from John Walker.
Some great interior passing already from Texas Southern, and you can see that these guys are confident. Many of the players for Texas Southern, they've been to the NCAA tournament. They've won this SWAC championship before.
Well, you said at the beginning, very deceiving for the 8th seed, right? To come in here, they barely even made it into the tournament because they lost their last 3 regular season games.
A lot of injuries, illness for Texas Southern this year, but Johnny Jones told me pregame they got it back together just at the right time, and they're playing their best basketball here in the tournament.
Jonathan Aku with an offensive rebound, and he got fouled for Grambling State, so free throws coming here.
Nice attack there by Coward, getting downhill to the rim. An opportunity for him to get to the free throw line.
Colby Granger was called for the foul for Texas Southern. And here's Aku at the free throw line for Grambling State. You look at some of the numbers too. Texas Southern 9-2 all time against Grambling State in postseason play. The last time that Grambling State beat Texas Southern in the tournament here was in 1988.
It's been a minute.
Yeah, to say the least.
88. What were you doing at 88? I was finishing up my freshman year of high school.
88, yeah. 11 years old. How's championship week going for you so far here?
Championship week has been great, and I'll get an opportunity here to come and be a part of some SWACtion here this evening.
You coined that last year, right?
Oh,
that's coming from you, isn't it?
I am not going to take credit for it. I heard it. I will say that, you know, my guy Brian Duvall in the truck was the first person I heard say it, so I'm taking it from Brian, our producer, and I just ran with it. Just America doesn't get a chance to hear him say it. They only hear me say it. So if you want to give me credit for it, I'm going to take it.
Well, we had Maction, so now we've got SWACtion here for the title game today. Winner to the NCAA tournament at the free throw line is John Walker, and it's 5-1 Texas Southern. The foul was on Jonathan Aku, the first for him for Grambling State.
And I'm not even going to bother to say that Brian nor I are that creative. I'm sure someone throughout the SWAC has said SWACtion well before us.
Congratulations on the women's side to Southern with a 62-53 win over Arkansas Pine Bluff in the women's championship game here on this very court before this one today.
Always entertaining. I believe it was probably a 30-foot runner that got Southern into the championship game in the semifinal round. So when you have magic happening like that, you've got to go ahead and finish it off and win it, right?
Exactly right. And they did. They won by 9 points. Boy, I mean, that's it. We've seen so much of it throughout championship week that these plays and these last-second shots, the teams don't even be there, you know, if it wasn't for that. And you got to run with it. They have.
Yeah, speaking of not being here, you mentioned earlier Texas Southern had to fight to get to the tournament to be this 8 seed. 8 out of the 12 SWAC teams, as we see Walker III with another bucket. It's great passing so far, and I won't just say the Tigers. I got to say the Texas Southern Tigers, because it's a Tigers battle today.
It is. Let me ask you this, Corey. How about John Walker, right? You knew he had to come out and assert himself and be collected, right? He got into a little bit of a verbal argument on the sideline in that semifinal game yesterday. He only played 5 minutes. He came out. He didn't return. They need his services in this title game today.
But I love that fact that Johnny Jones still goes with him, and he stepped up for his team to start this game. As we're going to look over as a coup knock someone to the ground on that possession. I believe the officials are going to go over and take a look.
And that's a second personal foul. So they are going to the monitor to take a look at it. As Aku picks up his second personal for Grambling State. 16:47 to play in this first half. They're looking to see whether or not this is going to get upgraded to a flagrant 1 or it's going to stay a common foul. We shall see.
Yeah, we see Aku just posting up hard, but then that left shoulder going into a defender, and you're talking about a big, strong guy.
Our officials here today, Lucas Santos, Bharat Ramanan, and Michael Wallace. Common foul, they say. They took a look at it. So it remains a common foul, but that's going to be big now. That's 2 on Jonathan Aku, the 6'11" junior forward out of Nigeria, number 12 for Grambling State, and he's going to have to come out of the game here. They don't want him picking up a third foul early on, so in comes Malik Lamine, another 6'11" player, sophomore out of Minnesota, number 32 for Grambling State, has just checked in.
And let's give our officiating crew a lot of love already, just being communicative to us, making sure they let us know everything that's going on. Make us look like we know what we're talking about.
Exactly right.
I think pretty much everyone knows we really don't.
And, you know, the goal is to get it right. I mean, it takes a couple extra minutes, so be it, right? People get all uptight about that. This is a championship game here today. Winner to the tournament, loser is not.
Hey, you know, heavy stakes in this game. I would much prefer to take the time to get the call right.
Turnover. Jordan Smith able to come up with it for Grambling State, looking for their first bucket, and a missed dunk by Shondarius Cowart. And here comes Texas Southern, and they lose the handle on the deck. Still loose. Oh, what a good job there. That was Colby Granger that came up with it for Texas Southern.
And you can see, we talked about the stakes at hand, how important this game was.
That's an offensive foul on John Walker before he dished it off, and he picks up his first. And we've got our first timeout of the afternoon. Texas Southern 8, Grambling State 1. Back after this.
Metro offers MLS Season Pass.
On us.
What about for existing customers?
Yep.
As promised, two-time national champion A.J. McCarron.
My oldest son, he's sick.
Metro offers MLS Season Pass.
On us.
What about for existing customers?
Yep.
Metro offers MLS Season Pass.
On us.
What about for existing customers?
Yep.
Metro offers MLS Season Pass.
On us.
What about for existing customers?
Yep.
I brought the halftime show to Sam's house. I hope you at least use the Capital One Quicksilver card. I brought the halftime show to Sam's house. I hope you at least use the Capital One Quicksilver card. I brought the halftime show to Sam's house. I hope you at least use the Capital One Quicksilver card. Come on in to the truck stop. Everything you need for a road trip to the Final Four. I'm impressed.
Metro offers MLS Season Pass.
On us.
What about for existing customers?
Yep.
Metro offers MLS Season Pass.
On us.
What about for existing customers?
Yep.
What makes this time special? Have you ever seen an entire
game on?
Metro offers MLS Season Pass.
On us.
What about for existing customers?
Yep.
Come on in to the truck stop. Everything you need for a road trip to the Final Four. I'm impressed. Come on in to the truck stop. Everything you need for a road trip to the Final Four. I'm impressed.
I hope you're earning double miles on gas with the Capital One Venture Card.
Breaker, one niner. It's Chuck.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is brought to you by Principal. When you take care of your team, they take care of business. Back in Birmingham, Alabama today for the SWAC championship game. Mike Corey and Corey Alexander. Great start here for Texas Southern, off to an 8-1 advantage, looking for their third consecutive SWAC championship.
And we talked about Johnny Jones knows his way around March. 25-8 in the month of March as the head coach at Texas Southern University. Get an opportunity to see John Walker III, as you mentioned, was benched yesterday in a semifinal matchup, but back in the starting lineup and being productive early. You can see the relationship that Johnny Jones has with his players.
Grambling, what do they got to do here to try to get some points on the board? They're 0 for right now from the field goal from the outside, and now we've got a foul called. It's on David Barnes.
Yeah, make sure you say that correctly.
Yep.
And our public address announcer did not say it the right way, because we got a visit from Miss Nikki Barnes, David Barnes' mother, to let it be known that we were saying his name incorrectly. I said, wait a minute, I have not said his name yet, so I'm not going to be accused of that. But she wanted the PA announcer's information to make sure he knew to say her baby's name correctly.
Well,
and they got it right, even though he just said it the wrong way again.
It's spelled D-A-V-O-N, but it's Davin. So David Barnes, and one of two to make it 8-2 now. Texas Southern still with a 6-point lead. Over the backdoor cut again, Walker, and he's fouled. It's a late call, but he did get hit. And on the feed from Granger, so John Walker, the third, going to get some help up on his feet.
But this is the third matchup between these two teams, and you can see what Johnny Jones is trying to do is take advantage of the aggressiveness in the passing lanes of the Grambling State Tigers. He knows they're going to try to deny, get you to turn the basketball over. So there's been a lot of back cuts, a lot of backdoor action early for Texas Southern.
Cameron Christian with the foul. This Texas Southern team, in their 18th appearance in the SWAC championship game, they're 10-7 in title games, trying for their third consecutive SWAC championship. 6 straight title game appearances for Texas Southern. What does that say about this group? I mean, before Jones is even here.
They say this says that if they win this game, they may start renaming the SWAC tournament the Texas Southern Invitation.
Christian missing on the jumper. They still do not have a field goal, Grambling State. Coming up on 5 minutes gone by here in this first half.
And when you look at the numbers throughout this season, Grambling State is the defensive team. Of course, Johnny Jones always has his team prepared to defend, but this year, Grambling State has been the better defensive team.
P.J. Henry takes it in, kicks it out. Good extra pass. Wide open is Granger, and he misses on the 3. Rebound, Coward.
That has been the one struggle for Texas Southern this year. They have not shot the 3 very well, only 28% on the season.
And caught in midair, not quite sure what he wanted to do with it, was Jordan Smith. And now here is P.J. Henry. He's wide open, and he drains a 3 ball for Texas Southern. And they're off to the fast start here in the title game.
That was at first a 1-on-0 that P.J. Henry stopped at the 3-point line. Someone from Grambling State was trying to get back, but not close enough to defend Henry, who knocked down 4 of the 5 3-point field goals made for Texas Southern in the semis.
First made 3 of the afternoon. And speaking of threes, that's off by Moten and rebounded by Texas Southern. They are leading by 11.
And with almost 6 minutes played, Grambling State is yet to make a field goal. Their points coming 2 of 4 from the free throw line.
Here's Henry. Stops, puts it up. It's short, tapped back out by Walker. And another 3-point try. That one is off the mark by David Barnes. And here comes Grambling State and Moten. Christian back over to Coward. Solid defense here by Texas Southern, not even allowing good opportunities or looks at the basket. They're collapsing inside, and a whistle and a foul as they got it to Malik Lamine. It's on Carl Nicholas. That's his first for Texas Southern.
P.J. Henry tapping it to himself, not even going to bother going to the rim for the layup. Pulls up, knocks down the three-pointer, celebrates on the way back. And his Texas Southern Tigers off to a great start, 13-2 lead. And more importantly, defensively, they have stifled Grambling State here early in this game.
Well, you saw 32 there, Malik Lamine, who's in because of Jonathan Aku has picked up 2 early fouls, the starting forward for Grambling State. Now they work it inside for Christian. That's a tough fadeaway. He got it, and he was fouled. First field goal finally for Grambling State with 13:25 to play in the first half. And the foul was called on Granger, his second.
And that's the guy that Grambling State is going to need to step it up. The SWAC Player of the Year, Cameron Christian, able to go over the top, the turnaround, the finish, and the opportunity for the and-one.
Christian had a really good game in the first matchup versus Texas Southern back on January 4th. He had 25 points, and that's a season high for him. And the first of 2 wins for this Grambling State team over Texas Southern, but this is different. This is tournament time in the championship game here. He caps off a 3-point play. It's an 8-point game.
A lot of injuries to Texas Southern this year. A number of bouts with illnesses to where it caused guys to miss games, but now with a full complement of players, they're playing their best basketball late in the season. Both these teams, no stranger to big wins. Texas Southern with a win over Arizona State earlier this year. And of course, Grambling State with 2 wins, one over Colorado, one over Vanderbilt. So 2 huge wins, 3 for the SWAC.
Yeah, no doubt. Over Colorado 84-73 and knocking out Vanderbilt 64-62. You're right. Working his way in. Thomas Cotton couldn't get it. He's down. It's a 5-on-4. Here comes Jordan Gilliam. Feeds it underneath, and the extra pass, Walker. The hook is good.
Once again, great interior passing by Texas Southern. They're sharing the basketball extremely well.
Just going to say that feed from Carl Nicholas. A nice job to make that little extra pass underneath.
And you talk about Carl Nicholas. He and John Walker III have been sharing the basketball back and forth a number of times throughout this game already. And you see the motto is to get the basketball to the open guy. On that possession, Walker III able to score over the top off a nice feed from Nicholas.
And Carl Nicholas, number 5, is heading to the bench. That's his second personal foul for Texas Southern. Ball gets put into Lamine. Cowart knocked away. Yeah, good hands on the defensive end as well for Texas Southern. 4 turnovers for Grambling State so far here in the first half. Right back the other way, though. Cowart. How about the recovery by Texas Southern on defense?
Oh, they're locked in. You can see, and the better they've been defensively, the more locked in they've become throughout this game. But you also see when you watch Texas Southern play, they've been here before. You can see that this moment is not too big for them. Being an 8 seed, this is the lowest seed they've ever been making it to this championship game. But you can tell right now they're comfortable playing in this space. We also have to mention, by knocking off the number 1 seed, Alcorn State, they got the best time slot. They played a much earlier game yesterday than did Grambling State, who had to play last night to make it to the final.
That's an excellent point, Corey. That game tipped off here, I think, what, 8:30 local time? That's a late day for them, for sure. Here's a jumper that's put up and in by David Barnes.
David Barnes, the leading scorer for Texas Southern, but taking on that role defensively, guarding Cameron Christian early, so his offense hasn't been as important as his defense early.
Lamine inside, he's blocked by Walker, and it stays with Grambling State, and they'll have it when we come back. 11 minutes and 27 seconds to play in this first half. You're watching the 2023 SWAC championship game, and it's Texas Southern by a dozen.
Game on. Game on.
As promised, 2-time national champion A.J. McCarron.
My oldest son, he's 6.
Game on. Game on. Game on. on. Game on. Game on.
If you Walmart, you know. If you shop with the Walmart app, you know everything you need. It's
in March, we move up ladders and into
John Walker III for Texas Southern off to a great start. 10 points, 4 blocks, 3 for 3 from the field already, and UC having a special evening thus far. My partner Mike Corey mentioning that he had a little bit of a verbal altercation with someone on the bench yesterday. Had to sit down and watch the remainder of the game at that point, but Johnny Jones showing a lot of trust in his veteran, who has responded in the right manner. Off to a great start here, already scoring huge early and having a strong impact for the reigning SWAC Impact Player of the Week.
Very good start for him in this group for sure. A 12-point lead here in the title game. We were talking about the 8 seed. The last time the number 8 seed even made it to the finals here of the SWAC championship game was in 2014. So again, Texas Southern trying to become the first number 8 seed to win it all, and they're off to the phenomenal start here, and that foul is going to be called. It's going to be on Lamine of Grambling State.
But once again, who's the guy? It's John Walker III stepping up. Great hands to be able to steal the basketball away, forcing the turnover, and then Lamine ends up picking up the foul, going after a loose ball. Just great defensive effort right here, and you can see celebrating as everyone is getting involved in the mix, getting on the floor. You can tell that these Tigers want to find their way back to the NCAA tournament.
Looking for their third consecutive trip to the NCAA tournament. Pullback jumper, no good that time by Jordan Gilliam. And it's out of bounds to Grambling State.
You mentioned Jordan Gilliam. He's another one of those guys, had a big performance in the championship game a year ago. And that's the difference between these two teams coming in. Texas Southern has experience. Grambling State, they don't have the experience. This is their first time back in this title game in 12 seasons. So you got to imagine that none of these guys, of course, have been a part of it.
Agreed. Looking for a little bit more, though, from this group that not only knocked off this Texas Southern team twice in the regular season, but a team that has now won a program record 24 games. I mean, this is probably one of their best and legitimate chances to win a championship here, and it's not going the way they wanted it to start. And a foul is called, a hard foul, as David Barnes will head to the free throw line.
But that play exemplifies the difference between these two programs and the way they've approached this game. You just mentioned the accolades of Grambling State. Program record, 24 wins, all of that. But look at the sense of urgency from Texas Southern. They've been here before. They understand what it takes to be successful winning championship games. This is, you know how they always talk about the intensity level goes up in the playoffs? Well, you're seeing it from Texas Southern. You haven't seen it yet from Grambling State.
Don't you see it all over the country, though? And whether it's the quarterfinals, second round, semifinals, I think we see a lot of teams, and even some of the power conferences, that were down and out a little bit during the year, didn't have a great game against a particular team, and then all of a sudden come back and win it in the tournament, right? Neutral site game.
And it happens. And again, there's also human nature that sets in when you beat a team twice, because you feel like we've got their number. We know that these certain things are going to happen for us, but this is not the same Texas Southern team that Grambling State has beaten twice. They played them, of course, when they had guys injured, and then when they were just getting their guys back early February. And this team right now, the way that they're playing, it's a special performance thus far.
You always have to wonder, too, when you see some of the teams where, in some of the power conferences, where it's a ranked team against a non-ranked team, and you think, oh, well, they're going to win. No, they're familiar with each other. It's a conference opponent, okay? They know about what to expect.
And another turnover ends up being 2 more easy points for Texas Southern. And I'll tell you this, too. What we're seeing as Dante Jackson wants the timeout, the difference in 6 hours of rest from playing at 2:30 yesterday in comparison to playing at 8:30. It is showing right now.
Zyterius Multi throwing it down for Texas Southern. They lead it by 15.
Game on. Game on. Game on. Game on. Game on. Game on.
Welcome back to Birmingham, Alabama. Mike Corey and Corey Alexander. And I think your point is well taken here, Corey, about getting some extra rest, especially in this tournament atmosphere. Let's not forget, for the fans watching, the women and the men play in the same venue here at Bartow Arena. It's back and forth, and there's not a lot of extra time. And like you said, the earlier game yesterday was played by Texas Southern. They've had more rest.
They've had more rest, and also they've shared the basketball very well. 6 assists on 7 field goal makes for Texas Southern. Only 1 field goal made for Grambling State to this point in the game. No assists for them yet.
They are 1 of 11 from the field. Cower inside, make it 1 of 12. The rebound is pulled in by Jordan Gilliam.
Both teams with 4 turnovers early. The difference is Texas Southern has turned those 4 turnovers into 4 points, and Grambling State is yet to score off of any of the Texas Southern turnovers.
Gilliam to the corner with his pass to P.J. Henry, and he was fouled by Christian. Now that's going to be the 3rd foul on Cameron Christian for Grambling State.
And Christian just now coming back into the game.
Yeah, that's his 3rd, Corey.
Yeah, you see Dante Jackson thinking about it slowly, but you have to get Christian out of the game at this point.
Zahad Munford is coming in, so that's a huge loss as well. So first off, they lose Jonathan Aku to 2 early personal fouls in this game. So the big guy, he goes out. Now they got Cameron Christian on the bench. He's got 3 personal fouls. We may not see him the remainder of this first half.
No, you can't put him back in the game. We've got a technical foul. Well, let's see who that was actually called on. The free throw is good.
It's on Vershawn Cotton for Grambling State.
Grambling State's Vershawn Cotton, 0-0, has been issued a technical foul from the officiating crew.
So Cotton gets a technical foul.
And things just not going Grambling State's way. I can recognize that. I see the frustration, but you can't continue to add insult to the injury and allow Texas Southern to put more points on the board. Now the technical foul, I believe, is going to get them the basketball back.
Well, Henry's unable to make the free throws. He got 2 free throws there. Christian had picked up the initial foul. So Cotton gets a technical foul. It's just a dead ball.
Yeah, dead ball. So Grambling State will keep the basketball, fortunately. And fortunately for Grambling State, P.J. Henry misses both free throws, which is a rarity to say the least.
And Cotton had 20 points in the last meeting versus Texas Southern in that win in early February. And finally, a bucket here from Tremichael Moten. Just the 2nd made field goal of the game for Grambling State. It's a 15-point deficit.
And you see Grambling State now wanting to pick up, apply a little bit of token pressure on scores. But as you mentioned, only the 2nd made field goal of the game.
Running shot, no. The tip is no good. That was Multi that got the rebound, got it back again, and here's Gilliam. Multi bombing up a 3 ball. That's off. Walker's been there, and he does it again. Offensive rebound.
The effort points, the 50-50 balls, everything has gone Texas Southern's way early in this game.
Back into John Walker. Double team comes down. Good job, help defense from the baseline, but he gets it back out. 3 to shoot. Off balance runner, no, by Gilliam. And that's a shot clock violation.
Unfortunately for Grambling State, because it would have been another offensive rebound for Texas Southern if that basketball had hit the rim.
They played that one perfectly, though. They came over with that help from the baseline side, shutting off Walker as he spun, and then had really nowhere to go with it.
Well, you can see that Walker had an advantage on the post because Grambling State had been put into a scramble situation trying to come up with that offensive rebound. But as you mentioned, great help. They're going to have to capitalize and start getting some buckets on this end, though.
So here's Cotton. Kicks it. Faking on the three. Quentin Morrell back to Cotton. Takes it in. He's hit hard and fouled. And Zyterius Multi picks up the foul for Texas Southern.
But I can appreciate Grambling State recognizing, look, things aren't going well for us, so let's just put our head down, get downhill, see if we can get to the free throw line. If we're not going to make shots, let's see if we can add some points on the board at this free throw line, and more importantly, see if we can find a way to get to get Texas Southern into foul trouble.
Yeah, 3 of 5 from the free throw line here early for Grambling State. 7 of 10 is Texas Southern. And they'll get some points here with Cotton.
See, normally I would say Tigers, but they're both Tigers, so I got to go say the full name right now. Got to go use the whole government.
Tigers versus Tigers for the SWAC championship here today. Winner to the NCAA tournament. Again, as you said, don't be fooled by that 13-20 record for the 8 seed Texas Southern. Not playing like that here today. 2 wins over the #1 seed Alcorn State, 66-62. Then 74-61 over #5 seed Alabama A&M to get here to the title game. And now a steal. Montford, yes.
But that's it. You score, you can pressure. Dante Jackson wants this pressure, and they're going to use this pressure to find a way to trap, see if they can force some turnovers, get some fast break points, and get back into this game. Coach Jackson is excited about his team right now. He was on the floor in the defensive stance.
Chris Craig hands it off here for Henry. Shot clock is inside 10 now for Texas Southern. Henry trying to make a move down the lane. He got it knocked away, and it stays with Texas Southern, and they'll have it when we come back.
Well, if the Tigers of Grambling State are going to find a way to get back into this game, they're going to have to do it with their defense. The steal, the finish, and now we've got a game.
Game on. 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 Game on.
Soy una leyenda.
This is what you dream of.
Champ Week rolls on tonight. The New York Life ACC Tournament title game. Duke and Virginia. That's at 8:30. Then the Pac-12 championship game presented by New York Life, Arizona and UCLA. That's at 10:30 on ESPN, the ESPN app. What do you got, Corey, in these two?
Two great matchups tonight, and you're talking about a Duke-Virginia matchup where A missed call at the end of the regulation did not allow Duke to shoot free throws. Virginia ended up winning that game in overtime. And then you talk about going out west to two teams that are national championship contenders, Arizona and UCLA. And that's going to be a three-point opportunity for Henry, who did not have an opportunity to land clearly. But Dante Jackson wants the officials to know that his player was pushed.
Moten is called for the foul for Grambling State.
But Dante Jackson explaining to the officiating crew that Moten was pushed out there. He didn't just happen to get out there and foul on his own.
Well, Texas Southern here gets the benefit now of the free throws for P.J. Henry. 26 points in the last game for Henry.
Yeah, he made 4 of the 5 made three-point field goals for Texas Southern.
Kalen Farouk is in for the first time today for John Walker III, who's had a really good start to this game for Texas Southern.
Yeah, I want to say this is the first break of the game for John Walker III, and I mean he's been all over the place, doing it in every facet of the game, offensively, defensively, passing the basketball, everything that Johnny Jones could have asked of him.
Count the free throws here for Texas Southern and P.J. Henry. They're back up 14 points. The runner doesn't go that time by Moten. And right back the other way, the Tigers of Texas Southern. Henry lost the handle.
Henry was indecisive on that possession, but comes up with the basketball.
Takes it right away and gets it back. And now we're going to have a whistle. Is this a foul or a jump ball? Let's see. Jump ball is the call, and it's going to be Grambling State possession.
Well, Henry has 2 turnovers on this play. He loses it, but has presence of mind to be able to take the basketball away, then loses it once again. This one ends up being a tied-up possession, with possession going to Grambling State. But again, I'll take a guy with that type of effort turning the basketball over, especially when you're playing that hard.
No doubt. Driving in and getting the bucket is Munford. Zahad Munford scores it for Grambling State. It's not insurmountable here, Corey. I mean, they have not played well, but it's a 12-point game.
They have not played well at all, but as you mentioned, it is in very much close proximity. 12 points is nothing in a college basketball game, especially with the three-point line.
They haven't hit a 3-ball just yet. 0 for 3 from beyond the arc. 12-point game, trying to claw their way back into here. Munford, there's the 3-ball. That is short, but right into the hands of his teammate Morrell, and he misses.
I was about to say, Munford's going to tell you that was a pass.
Yeah. Could have had an easy bucket there inside. Instead, Texas Southern with 6 minutes to go in this first half. Lead it by a dozen, 7 turnovers for each team. Inside runner, no good by Barnes, and he was fouled.
David Barnes in attack mode, headed to the basket, the spin, maneuvering with the left hand, unable to finish, but gets the contact and an opportunity at the free throw line. It's his mom, Nikki. Watches on.
That's right.
I tell you what, she made a beeline to us to let us know, say my baby's name right.
David Barnes, sophomore out of Memphis, Tennessee.
I'm glad she did also, because I probably would have said at some point Davon or, pronounced it the wrong way and been on the wrong side of Nikki's list. There she is. There's Nikki tuning in. She is intent. Flashing the big smile earlier today, though, as we started to tease her a bit about how quickly she got down the stands to approach us about saying her baby's name the right way.
Well, her son's got 5 points here so far in this first half with 4 rebounds as well. Doing a nice job for Texas Southern. And a foul on the other end now. And it's on Barnes, so that'll be his second.
And I just can't help but listen to the public address announcer saying his name the wrong way.
I'm going to go check him out at halftime, help him out.
Well, we sent word over.
Right.
We did our part.
We did.
We can't fault anybody else. We did our part. That's all on him now.
Here's Munford at the free throw line. Five of 8 for the game. Grambling State. Barnes will take a seat. And Multi is back in for Texas Southern.
And both these teams play 9 to 10-man rotations. So there's depth on both sides. And again, it's not just the foul trouble. They're used to playing this depth.
Grambling State is looking for their first ever SWAC championship, the first ever trip to the NCAA tournament. If they can get the win here today, they've got a program record, 24 wins and counting, but trail it here early. Backing off the jumper, Henry, no. Offensive rebound. Texas Southern's done that a few times today.
Yeah,
that was Farouk.
They've continued to win the 50-50 possessions, offensive rebounding, loose balls.
Henry for 3, no. And once again, Multi trying to track it down. They're going to call a jump ball as he was tied up, and it stays with Texas Southern on the arrow.
Right now, Texas Southern plus 14 in this first half and the first 15 minutes played. If you go back to last year's championship game where they were plus 21 to end that second half, I mean, in the second half of that one. So the last two halves plus 36 so far for these two teams.
Well, and think about this. In the second half, we're going to see Jonathan Aku and Cameron Christian back in for this Grambling State team, both on the bench right now in foul trouble.
And did I say, after I messed with Duval, did I say plus 36, plus 35?
35, yes.
I messed with Duval so bad about his math.
Right.
And then I messed it up myself.
No, you caught it. You got it. But that goes to show you a long game here. Long game, 4:40 remaining first half.
Well, think about long game. Think about how long this possession has been defensively for Grambling State as they come up with another offensive rebound. This will be a 5th shot attempt. And I believe that P.J. Henry's taken 3 of the 4 shot attempts already on this same possession.
Chris Craig was able to come up with this latest offensive rebound. Now is a foul. You give them multiple opportunities. Something's going to happen here. Joshua Phillips with his second personal foul. It's bonus time here for Texas Southern.
And you can tell Grambling State a bit fatigued to start this game. 6 hours is a tremendous difference when you talk about rest time. The difference between being the #1 seed and the #2 seed. Of course, Grambling State coming in the #2 seed, but Texas Southern knocks off the #1 seed, so they automatically go into the best slot to be able to get the proper rest for the championship game.
So Johnny Jones's group, who's trying to win their 3rd consecutive SWAC championship.
And if there's one thing that you can say that Texas Southern has not done well throughout this game is shoot free throws. They haven't been great at the line. Well, 12 of 15, not too bad. Still shooting 80%.
Well, the other side, it's 5 of 9 for Grambling State. Fight for this one. Traveling violation. Going to call it on Multi that time for Texas Southern. Another timeout here. We've got under 4 to go in the first half. And it's a 15-point lead for the 8th seed back in Birmingham, Alabama after this.
Game on. 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 Game on.
What makes this time special? Have you ever seen an entire...
The XFL gets you closer to football than ever before. Where anything... The XFL gets you closer to football than ever before. Where anything...
Texas Southern by 15 points here, first half in the SWAC championship game. 3:58 remaining first half.
Well, I thought that Texas Southern hadn't shot free throws well. It's because they missed 3 straight. But in all actuality, they shot free throws very well. 13 of 17 already in this game. And you see the difference in the numbers. It's actually Grambling State that hasn't shot it very well. So every aspect of this game, Texas Southern has outplayed Grambling State in this first half. Of course, a very long game. There's still 3:58 remaining in this first half. There's more than enough time for Grambling State to try to find some rhythm. But the problem is the fact that their best player, the SWAC Player of the Year, on the bench with 3 fouls. It makes it difficult to be able to get back into this game without Cameron Christian on the floor.
So he's got the 3. Aku has got 2. Phillips has 2. First half here as Phillips puts up a long 3, follows his own shot, and got it stolen away.
Henry pulled up for a 3 on the last break. This time he brings it back out. He's cooled off a bit since getting off to a good start in this game.
Kind of like shot selection and teamwork so far for Texas Southern on the offensive end.
Well, I mean, you've got to like everything they've done offensively and defensively early in this game.
Offensive rebounding, too, as you said, in the last possession. There were like 5 chances at it. Here is Henry. Off-balance floater, no. Tap back out, but it goes right into the hands of Moten. Moten dishes it inside, and the bucket is scored by Phillips.
Give Grambling State credit. They continue to attack the basket. If they can put together a couple stops, try to get this into single digits before halftime, they'll be able to go into the halftime locker room with some momentum.
5 of 20 from the field for Grambling State in this first half at 25%. The deficit is 13. Henry backing off for the 3 ball. That's front rim, knocked out of bounds to Grambling State.
But you can see that Dante Jackson is content to switch that screen and roll action and allow Aku or whoever gets matched up on Henry to guard him, try to stay in front and force that long 3-point shot. And Henry is cooled off significantly.
They try to go inside, and it's intercepted. Gilliam's got it. Multi. Blocking foul, and free throws coming for him.
And is that going to be 3 on Phillips?
It is.
So the fouls are starting to just continue to mount up on Grambling State. As Phillips goes over, you see him moving to his left, trying to get that foul.
That's 12 team fouls in this first half for Grambling State.
And what is forcing Coach Jackson to do is play a smaller lineup. Aku back on the floor with his 2 fouls, but a much smaller lineup for Grambling State at this point.
Yeah, Munford comes in, 6'3" guard, in for Phillips, who's a 6'9" forward, who has 3 fouls. Christian's got 3 fouls. Aku's got 2. This first half can't end quick enough if you're Grambling State right now. Try to get some of their starters and main guys back in. It's a 14-point deficit. Moten bounces it from Munford. 2 minutes left in the first half. Free throw line jumper, no. Foul on the floor, and it's on Texas Southern. It's on Chris Craig.
Craig with a tough task there, trying to keep Aku off the glass on that possession.
And Coach Jackson putting him back in there with the 2 personal fouls late in this first half. It's a 1-and-1 here, 9th team foul.
Yeah, Coach Jackson doesn't have a lot of options at this point. It seems that everyone that he has in the front court on the bench, but Aku still unable to get anything to go from the free throw line.
And that's tough, missing the front half of the 1-and-1 as well. 5 of 10 from the free throw line is Grambling State. 14-point lead for Texas Southern, a team that has been in 8 of the last 9 title games here in the SWAC. They've got 6 titles in that span, looking for their 7th. A rejection inside by Aku, that time on Chris Craig.
And now you see why Aku is back on the floor with those 2 fouls, showing his value.
Wild runner doesn't go that time from Moulton, and it's out on the run here to Multi for Texas Southern. Looking to work for a good shot here late in this first half. Maintain this double-digit advantage. Walker stays with it. No, and the rebound is put up and in by Chris Craig. Thought he might have got a foul with it as well, but he scores at 31-15.
But right now, Texas Southern is just playing volleyball. They just throw it up and go get it.
Rebounding advantage, 26-11 so far here in this game. Count the basket and a foul. That's Zahad Munford. That's a strong drive for the bucket and harm. Chance for the three-point play.
And Johnny Jones does not like that call. He's talking with Michael Wallace right now about why is it that this is not a foul on the other end of the floor. But you can see coming over the contact as Mumford's able to finish it off, and the concentration to get the bucket through the contact and an opportunity at the free throw line.
Zyterius Multi with a foul. So here is at the free throw line, Zahad Munford, a chance to cut it back down to 13. 45.4 seconds to go, and they can kind of get that 2-for-1 here. So he converts the three-point play. As you said, Corey, they got to get a defensive stop.
Yeah, I mean, that's the most important part right now for Grambling State. How can they get stops? What adjustments can be made at halftime? But important possession here. You don't want for Texas Southern to go into the halftime locker room with any type of momentum.
Henry. In and out. Rebound by Aku.
And right now, if you're Grambling State, you want the last shot, see if you can get a bucket, but you found a way to get back into this game, build some momentum, even with your guys in foul trouble. A basket here will go a long way.
10 seconds left. It's up top to Cowart. Gets a screen from Aku, gets it back to him, gathers it. On the kick, relocated, Cotton for 3. It is no good. And that is the end of the first half. Grambling State trying to win the SWAC and get to their first ever NCAA tournament if they can get the win today, but they're down 13.